This is the MHFi podcast with Carl Jensen and Doug Cunnington. We have authentic conversations about the journey to Fi, health, happiness, and some very odd tangents. We interview Fi experts, side hustlers, people on their way to Fi, and those who have reached the other side. Join us every week, and if you want the show notes and links and all that other stuff, head over to milehify.com.
Hello, world. Welcome to the MHFi podcast. My name is Carl Jensen, and I'm with my host,
Doug Cunnington.
Doug, what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about some things that I am frugal with, and you too, but this was my idea because the other day I got some new sandals. I'm wearing them right now. They're Chacos, which the people that are, well, number one, if you're into naked feet and you're watching YouTube, you can see one of my sleek, it looks like a very pasty white foot. But I got these sandals. And do you wear sandals or Chacos or anything?
I've got Keens, which are maybe a sturdier version. Like I live in those things in the summer.
Shots fired. They're sturdier than Chacos. Come on.
Yeah, I think so. They've got the big rubber thing. I hurt myself on my klutz, so I need protection. If they had a steel-toed version of it, I would have it.
Sure.
So yeah, but it's pleasant to have footwear like that in the summer. I'm not a flip-flop type person. They kind of I hate flip-flops, actually.
Okay. Is that like how they get in between your toes?
I don't know. It doesn't feel natural to walk in them for me.
Okay. That's fair. Anyway, the Chacos are fine. And I like Keens too, just giving you a hard time. But anyway, I am kind of frugal about a couple things that I know in some previous episodes. I'm like, I bought this expensive guitar. I'm not as frugal as a lot of people are, and I'm happy to spend on certain things. There are a handful of things that I often get from eBay. So I got these sandals from eBay, and typically what I'm looking for is either like a new in box situation or like new without box, but it's kind of like an open box item generally. So these sandals, like when I look at the pictures and looked at the soles, the person maybe wore them once outside. Like there's almost nowhere, like you can still see sort of the fine texture on the bottom of the soles. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. And often, Carl's phone's going off. Oh, I thought he was a pro.
I had it on Do Not Disturb. My phone takes it off.
Is it an emergency? Is it okay?
I don't think so.
All right.
I'm just going to hit decline on that.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, I got these sandals lightly used, but instead of paying, $100 or 110 or so, I got them for 40 shipped, and they're practically brand new. So there's a handful of things that I go for. So, shoes sometimes, flip-flops. Again, like I'm happy with some lightly used stuff. And I have gotten some clothes too. Like I've gotten some Patagonia shirts and pullovers and some other things like that where it's high quality, probably didn't fit someone. And I've certainly had clothes where I've gotten them as a gift and it wasn't quite right. And then I've gotten rid of them. Maybe I didn't sell them on eBay, for example, but I've gotten rid of them and given them to someone else. So any thoughts on, wearing someone else's sandals where their naked feet were touching right where mine are?
I have a similar story, and this comes from a friend who you've met. It's been a while ago, but this story, I will leave his name out of it to protect the guilty. This guy was out hiking and he sees someone's like used underwear just on top of like a branch. It was like they had thrown it into a tree. So he goes and retrieves them and sees that they're his size. So he took them home, washed them, but then continued to wear them after that. So I draw the line at stuff like that. Like I would wear a shirt that someone else wore, but like underwear, no.
Probably not, yeah.
Maybe shoes if they were very, very lightly used or used once. They didn't fit. I didn't like the color. I would do it then, but not any intensely used item.
Right. Not like a electric toothbrush, right? You probably wouldn't get one of those, even though you can get new bristles. So would you do that?
Oh, yeah. If I could, yeah, you swap out the head on there. I would do that, but not the bristles. Like, oh, that just grosses me out. It's nasty. Or
just buy a new one.
What's your thing? Your fufa or whatever you cleanse your body with? Like, I'm not going to borrow your thing. Although I might have did it unintentionally when we roomed together at Economy, or your soap. I don't know. You ever? I'm not. I was going to get into some details, but no.
Yeah. Well, that'll be for MHFi After Dark. But one good thing with the sandals is like these are meant to be washed and stuff. So as soon as I got them, I started like, I just washed them, scrubbed them, and cleaned them off, and they're in good shape. But kind of funny thing. So I was out walking Georgie yesterday, the dog, and we finished, we're finishing our walk. We're coming in, and I'm like smelling some like kind of foul odor. And it's kind of like BO-ish, but kind of funky locker room, just not good, And I'm like, is it me? I'm like, oh, fuck, I smell awful. So I'm like smelling my hat, smelling my arms, and just, is it my shirt? Did I somehow rub like something smelly on me? I don't know what it is, right? But it smells terrible. And I can't figure it out. And I'm like, is it these new sandals? I'm like, that's why they sold them, because they smell like shit, What the fuck? So I'm thinking, I can't wait to get home so I could take these off and, see what the deal is. So I get home, smell the sandals. Thank God they smelled like soap still. Like even me wearing them, they just smelled like soap. So I was like, it's me. It must be me somehow. And I keep doing stuff, and I'm like, I'm going to have to take a shower. And like, I don't know why I smell, because I'm a 1 to 2 shower a day kind of dude. And you've been around me. I usually don't smell, right?
I have never smelled you.
Yeah. And you've tried, Lord knows you've tried.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But anyway, eventually I figured out that it was Georgie. So Georgie rolled in something, but I didn't realize it. She's rolling on her back, and I don't know what it was. It wasn't like a poop or anything like that, but I think it was actually, it was like a old packet of meat, like a lunch meat or something that someone tossed, and she like rolled in, I don't know, like rotten meat. So I gave her a bath right away. It was disgusting, man. Yeah, wow. I thought it was me. I thought it was me that smelled like rotten meat.
Does she like baths? Did she appreciate the bath?
No, she doesn't like them too much, but I took her in the backyard, and she's a player through and through. So I'm like trying to wash her, and she went to go grab a ball and brought it to me. So I'm like, all right, I guess we can trade. So I would throw a couple times, and then she'd come back, and I'd like wash her off. But yeah, I thought I made a huge mistake with my sandals here.
I'm glad it worked out for you. But the funny thing is, on the topic of this, I do have a similar item that I just bought, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. And these were, I work out. I've tried to work out with different headphones. I've got the over-the-ear ones, but those don't work out because you get all sweaty and you just sweat like crazy in there, and it's dripping out. It's disgusting. But I also don't like the ear. I've never used the Apple EarPod, so maybe it's different. But whenever I've had the kind with like the rubber thing that forms a seal with your ear, when I'm running or doing something, maybe doing the stair machine, it pounds like do.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like that either. So what I came to is the headphones I really like are the original Apple headphones that they used to ship with an iPhone that doesn't do that. They kind of just rest in your ear. For some reason, those worked out really well for me. And I had a pair, but they shit the bed. They stopped working. And you cannot buy those. So I had to hit up eBay, and I found a pair of those on eBay. And they're probably used. They look all right. They just showed up a couple days ago, actually. But those potentially could have been in someone else's ear. Would have been kind of the same situation as your Chacos.
Yeah. And I think, did you clean them out somehow, or did you like spray them with the CO2, compressed CO2?
Yeah, I think I'll have to maybe get like a Q-tip with an alcohol, like swab them off a little bit just to make sure. I'm sure they're fine. They look all right. I don't see any earwax in there or other signs of nastiness, but
yeah.
But still, there are people who would not put up with that. They'd be like, "You're nasty. That's disgusting."
Yeah. I think that's all right. It's not like you're gonna eat off of them or something like that. You're just putting them in your ear. Yeah. And yeah, it seems okay. You clean them off, wipe them with some alcohol or Clorox or something like that.
Yeah.
But to your point, electronics, that's another thing that I almost always buy used. So camera gear, laptops, like I haven't bought a new computer. I usually get a used one. And again, a lot of times you'll find someone who either, they bought the wrong one, or they realize they don't need it or something like that. And it's in, practically brand new condition. The new laptop that I got, I think it was from a company that bought too many. So it was literally never used. And it's in perfect condition, came essentially new in box. And it's, hundreds of dollars cheaper than buying a new one. So I think there's a handful of things, you have to figure out what's right for you to get used, but eBay is fantastic for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, agreed. Electronics are a great thing. I always buy refurbished or used as well. My last MacBook was that way. It's from 2014. It still works fine. My phone, which inadvertently went off a moment ago, was used as well. A nice phone. Like, I'd rather buy something higher quality used than a lesser quality new item, I guess. Like, give me something durable that I know and is somewhat like if you buy it from Apple, they'll even do a refurbished and it's guaranteed. You'll pay a premium to buy it from Apple, so that might not always be the solution, but I think there's a way to do these things to make these purchases effectively.
Yep. And I mean, I have purchased the last 2 computers from eBay, so I didn't go the refurbished route, which I used to do, but yeah, it's actually even cheaper. There's a little bit more risk, but if you do buy from eBay, there's usually pretty good protection for the buyer. So if you have any kind of issues, like, I've never had to exercise that right, but there is some stuff that you can do to unwind in case you get like a dud, or, the delivery guy drops the whole thing and crushes it. I think you're probably okay, but there is a little bit more risk buying it from some random person on the internet.
Sure.
So any other things you could think of that you could buy used?
Geez, I mean, just about everything. I buy my house is used, my car is used, you buy your guitars used. I think we're doing this medium-term rental house, and real quick, our strategy is to find the exact items we want, and then we set up a search on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and then I just check my notifications once a day. I get a high quality item for like a third of the cost, and it doesn't take up mental bandwidth because I've just set up that notification. I'm not checking Facebook 10 times a day. So yeah, pretty much. The more interesting question would be, what do you insist on buying new?
Well, you mentioned underwear, so that's a good one. I'm trying to think of any other specific things where I'm like, I really just want to get a brand new one. I used to be more particular for, some of the camera gear and stuff, but typically if someone buys like an expensive lens, they're not like throwing it on the ground and treating it bad. Like, they're kind of babying it. So a lot of times you can get something that's pretty much brand new. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Maybe I just looked over and I saw some of my brewing equipment. So there's some stuff you definitely want to get used, like a keg, because those are, those over there are probably from the 60s or 70s. Like, they last forever. Like, they were made to last and be reused. But there's some stuff like vinyl tubing where you want to get new stuff because there could be like bacteria or contaminants that are in there. So a handful of things like that you would want to get new. So I would say maybe a couple items for the kitchen, where you wouldn't want to get a used one because there could be like some weird stuff growing in there, like a coffee maker. Maybe get a new coffee maker because there can be some bacteria. It's a hot and moist environment. But like a chef's knife, you can get a used chef's. I've actually purchased several used knives, and they're really high quality. They've depreciated, and you can get great steel, high carbon steel, sharpen them up, and they're like brand new. So I think I just answered the opposite again. What about you? Anything you insist on being new?
I'm going to say underwear, socks, and maybe, yeah, I think that's about it. I was going to say some things like batteries for tools, which degrade over time and you have to care for them in a certain way. But yeah, I'm just going to go with underwear and socks and leave it at that.
Anything else is free game. All right.
Anything.
That sounds good. All right. Well, I think that's it. Any other thoughts?
I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, check out our merch store. I forget if we've mentioned it in this episode. Behind the scenes, we've recorded several episodes today, so we don't even know what's going on. But we got merch. We got some T-shirts. We got mugs, water bottles. Do we have stickers yet?
No, but yeah, I'll get on that. I will create a sticker. I'm going to put that on my to-do list. And all of this is new. No used merchandise on MHFi.
Yeah, you got to pay extra for the used stuff. Like maybe that shirt you're wearing there, Carl sweated in it. Like that cost extra.
Yeah.
So, but you got to go to the OnlyFans for that. And that one's We'll put the link later, so don't worry about the OnlyFans thing yet. All right, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks for listening to the show. That was the MHFi podcast, and I'm Doug Cunnington, the balder host, and Carl Jensen is the cool, sexy one. If you dig the show, please do 3 things for us. Number 1, tell a friend, a family member, an enemy about the show. We really don't care who you tell. Maybe forward them a specific show that you know that they will like. It's the single most helpful thing that you can do to spread the word. It's like giving us a virtual high five, and actually we don't give high fives in person, so the virtual kind's pretty good. And more importantly, your friend or family member or even your enemy will appreciate the fact that you were thinking of them. Number 2, make sure you're following or subscribed on your podcast app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, YouTube, whatever you're using, and that way you won't miss a show. And number 3, please leave us a rating and review. We read them on the show occasionally, and you might hear yours out there on an upcoming episode. Quick disclaimer, this show is not financial or legal advice. I'd actually be surprised if it sounded like it. It's really just for entertainment, and that's at least what we're hoping for. But seriously, get advice from professionals. Carl and I are just 2 guys with microphones that sit in my basement and talk. So we'll catch y'all next week.